Hello, welcome to the Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service, a United Way partner agency. We're located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is Tuesday, no kidding Tina, it's Tuesday, October the 17th, and your radio hosts today are
Jessica
and Tina Beatty, and we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayetteville Observer, and Jessica's got the weather.
Okay, today it will be a high of 67 and a low around 42, mostly sunny.
Yeah, keep reading.
Okay.
Read the whole week.
Wednesday, the high will be 71 degrees, the low 47 degrees. Pleasant with plenty of sunshine. On Thursday, we're looking at a high of 75 degrees and a low of 48 degrees. Pleasant with plenty of sunshine. Friday, we have a high for 78 degrees and a low around 51 degrees. Nice with plenty of sunshine. And on Saturday, we have a high of 78 degrees with a low of 55 degrees. Mostly sunny and pleasant.
Well, autumn is here.
Yes.
Or is it? It is, isn't it?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I like cooler weather.
Me too.
I like to be able to change clothes. I'm tired of wearing sandals. Okay, time to get your boots out, folks. Alrighty, today in history. Today is Tuesday, October the 17th, and it's the 290th day of 2017. Wow, there are, how many days you think's left in the year? Only 75. Today's highlight: on October 17th, 1931, mobster Al Capone was convicted in Chicago of income tax evasion and sentenced to 11 years in prison. Capone was released in 1939. In 1777, British forces under General John Burgoyne surrendered to American troops in Saratoga, New York, in a turning point of the Revolutionary War. In 1807, Britain declared it would continue to reclaim British-born sailors from American ships and ports, regardless of whether they held U.S. citizenship. Oh dear. In 1919, Radio Corporation of America was chartered, so abbreviated that's RCA, we all know what that is. In 1933, Albert Einstein arrived in the United States as a refugee from Nazi Germany. In 1941, the U.S. destroyer Kearney was damaged by a German torpedo off the coast of Iceland, and 11 people died. In 1957, the movie Jailhouse Rock, starring Elvis Presley, had its world premiere in Memphis, Tennessee. In 1967, Puyi, the last emperor of China, died in Beijing at age 61. In 1979, Mother Teresa of India was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. In 2007, President George W. Bush, raising Beijing's ire, presented the Dalai Lama with a Congressional Gold Medal and urged Chinese leaders to welcome the monk to Beijing. I'm going to do birthdays, and I'm looking to see, well, you guys did me proud today. There's actually 2 people here with a birthday today. Arthur Fryer and Maria Washington. Happy birthday to both of you. And the other birthdays in the paper are: actress Marsha Hunt is 100. Whoa. Country singer Earl Thomas Conley is 76. Singer Jim Seals from Seals and Crofts is 75. Singer Gary Puckett is 75. Actress Margot Kidder is 69. Actor George Wendt is 69. Actor, singer Bill Hudson is 68. Astronaut Mae Jemison is 61. Country singer Alan Jackson is 59. Movie director Rob Marshall is 57. Animator Mike Judge is 55. Reggae singer Ziggy Marley is 49. Singer Wycliffe Jean is 48. World Golf Hall of Famer Ernie Els is 48. Singer Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC is 46. Rapper Eminem is 45. Actress Sharon Leal is 45. Actor Matthew McFadden is 43. And the picture at the top of the column is of actress Felicity Jones, who's 34. And actor Chris Lowell is 33. And actor D.J. Daniels is 29. Obviously, lots of actors born on this date, not so many musicians. Over to you, my dear.
Okay, for Swayze, there was much more after Dirty Dancing. The question: I'm obsessed with Dirty Dancing. Did Patrick Swayze dance again after the movie? What year was the movie released? When did Swayze find out he had cancer? When did he die, and at what age? Answer: the original Dirty Dancing with Patrick Swayze was released in 1987. A remake was broadcast on television in May of this year. Swayze joined the cast of the Chicago musical in late 2003, performing on Broadway and in the touring company, according to Broadway.com and reviews. He played lawyer Billy Flynn. Broadway.com also says Swayze was in the Guys and Dolls musical in London in 2006. Swayze died of cancer in September of 2009, 20 months after he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He was 57. Question: what happened to Anna Laurel on the WTVD Channel 11 Evening News? Answer: Laurel moved to California with her husband, according to a report in the Raleigh News and Observer. Her last day at the station was July 31st, the paper reported. Laurel, who started at WTVD in 2013, had been co-anchoring the afternoon and evening newscast, according to the newspaper. WTVD announced last month that Amber Rapinta, who has been working on the station's morning news program, will replace Laurel. Rapinta came to WTVD in 2004 as a weekend morning co-anchor, according to the station's website. She previously worked in Philadelphia and in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Oh, I knew Anna Laurel left, but I didn't know where she went. Okay. Hope you are well this morning. It's such a lovely day. I think we're owed this lovely weather, aren't we? It's been a long time coming. Okay, how about need to know? Item 1. All Mill Days Festival. The festival kicks off Friday night with a street dance from 6 to 10 p.m. on Trade Street in Hope Mills. There will be food and craft vendors, shopping, entertainment, and more. On Saturday, festivities are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Hope Mills Municipal Park, including a tractor pull, kids' corner, arts and crafts vendors, food, and more. The event ends with a family movie night on Field 2. Item 2. Blood drives. The Cape Fear Valley Blood Donor Center has several upcoming blood drives. Donors also may go by the Blood Donor Center, which is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is open the third Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All blood types are needed. However, the center has an urgent need for O-negative donors. For more information, you should call 615-5433. Here are some of the upcoming blood drives. On Monday, in Hope County, the EMS will be at Hope County EMS. There you go. We'll try again. 375 Teal Drive, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also Monday, Hope County Library, 334 North Main Street, 3 to 5 p.m. And October 24th, Hoke Hospital, 210 Medical Pavilion Drive, 8 a.m. to 1:30. And item 3 today, Science Night. The free event is at 7 p.m. on October 27th in Seabrook Auditorium. Fayetteville State University's Department of Chemistry and Physics wants to expose students and the community to the fun and excitement of science and math through demonstrations and discussion. Call 672-2441 for more information. And item 4, Night at the ASOM. The night at the Airborne and Special Operations Museum that had been scheduled, I forget which country I'm in, for Friday has been cancelled. So if you were planning to go, it's not happening right now. Okay, my dear.
Bergdahl enters guilty pleas. Sergeant Bull Bergdahl, who was held prisoner by the Taliban for nearly 5 years, pleaded guilty to desertion and misbehavior before the enemy during a hearing Monday on Fort Bragg. Bergdahl entered the plea while standing with his military lawyer, Orrin Lynch. I left on my own without authority, Bergdahl said. I understand leaving was against the law. The pleas were accepted by Jeffrey Nance, the military judge overseeing the case. There is no pretrial agreement regarding sentencing. The sentencing phase will continue Monday. Witnesses could be called to testify. Bergdahl could be demoted in rank to private, forfeit pay and allowances, receive a dishonorable discharge, and serve life in prison without parole. There was talk earlier this month that Bergdahl could enter a plea. More than 30 media outlets were registered to attend Monday's hearing. Bergdahl walked off his remote post in Afghanistan in 2009 and was subsequently captured and held by the Taliban for half a decade. He was charged in 2015. Then, a year following his release, in a controversial prisoner exchange. Before Nance accepted the pleas, Bergdahl described the day he walked away from his post. He said he wanted to get to forward operating base Sharina to voice concerns he perceived with his leadership, but he never intended for soldiers to stop their mission to search for him. At the time, I had no intention of causing search and recovery operations, Bergdahl told the judge. At the time, I believed they'd noticed I was missing but not search for one private, not be pulled off a crucial mission to search for one guy. Without a pretrial agreement, Bergdahl's pleas are risky but likely a calculated strategy, said Greg Rinke, a New York-based lawyer who specializes in military law. I think this is an intentional strategy by the defense, Rinke said. I think the government has not offered something palatable to them, and they're trying to signal the judge that the government was unreasonable. The strategy is rare, said Rinke, who was in the Judge Advocate General Corps for 6 years before entering private practice. He was not part of Bergdahl's defense team. Bergdahl was assigned to Task Force Yukon in Afghanistan at Observation Post Mest when he walked away, knowing who would miss guard duty in convoy. During the hearing on Monday, Bergdahl offered a rare glimpse into the day he walked away. He had previously only spoken about the incident on the podcast Serial and in an interview with British war filmmaker Sean Logan. Bergdahl said he left with the intention of walking to forward operating base Sharina, which he estimated was about 10 to 12 miles away. Within 20 minutes, Bergdahl said he was lost. About 3 or 4 hours later, he was captured by the Taliban, he said. Bergdahl said he was taken to a small village. He was placed on his knees, blindfolded, and his hands were restrained behind his back. A blanket was placed over his head, he said. He said he heard the voice of males leave and tried to get the blindfold off his face and move his hands in front of him. When he realized that wasn't possible, he said he tried to run and use the terrain to his advantage. I decided the best thing was to just run for it, he said. I started running. There came shouts. I was tackled by people. It didn't go so well. Bergdahl said he tried to escape 12 to 15 times during the nearly 5 years of his captivity. One time, Bergdahl said he escaped for 8 days. I was trying to get the attention of drones that had a presence in the area, he said. When asked by the judge if leaving Observation Post Mest for forward operating base Sharina was an appropriate way to voice concerns, Bergdahl said he understands now that it was wrong. I left my platoon mates in the battlefield, he said. It was very inexcusable. His disappearance triggered search and rescue operations that caused significant injuries to service members who could be called to testify. In June, the judge ruled evidence of injuries to Sergeant First Class Mark Allen and retired Senior Chief Petty Officer James Hatch, a Navy SEAL, would be allowed during sentencing if Bergdahl was convicted of misbehavior before the enemy. Allen was shot in the head when he and his embedded training team, consisting of 6 Americans and 48 members of the Afghan National Army, were searching a village for Bergdahl. Allen suffered a traumatic brain injury, stroke, and is confined to a wheelchair and unable to communicate. On a separate mission, Hatch suffered a broken femur when he was hit by enemy fire on a mission to search for Bergdahl. The injury ended his naval career. The pleas and 2 years of court proceedings, including retrieving 1.3 million pages of classified documents, were reviewed, and several attempts by defense lawyers to get the charges dismissed because they believed it would be impossible to receive a fair trial over then-candidate Donald Trump's attacks on Bergdahl. Defense lawyers said Trump's despairing remarks during his presidential campaign violated Bergdahl's due process rights. Trump has repeatedly called Bergdahl a traitor during interviews and town hall meetings.
Okay, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That was a long
Here's an article about those 2 young men that were killed in Africa. And this is about their bodies coming back. It's entitled, Mourners Pay Their Respects. About 500 people lined both sides of Ramsey Street on Monday as the bodies of Staff Sergeant Brian Black and Staff Sergeant Jeremiah W. Johnson arrived at Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Black, 35, of Puyallup, Washington, and Johnson, 39, of Springboro, Ohio, were assigned to the 3rd Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg, according to Army Special Operations Command. They were part of a 12-man team operating in the African country of Niger on October the 4th, when they were attacked by as many as 50 enemy fighters, according to the U.S. Department of Defense. We pay honor and respect to the troopers, said James Van Galder, 69, who spent 34 combined years in the Army and Air Force and is now a member of the Patriot Guard, a volunteer group that honors fallen soldiers and serves on the Cumberland County Veterans Council. The bodies were escorted in separate motorcades from Raleigh-Durham International Airport, arriving at the funeral home about 90 minutes apart. The motorcades traveled slowly on Ramsey Street from Interstate 295 as blue lights from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office and the North Carolina Highway Patrol vehicles preceded the black hearses carrying the bodies. Members of the Fayetteville and Fort Bragg fire departments stood by with trucks activating red lights to welcome the motorcades as they approached. Black's body was the first to arrive about 5:30 p.m. The crowd was smaller, but traffic was heavy in the area. As the motorcade approached, Fayetteville Police Department officers stopped traffic, and for a few moments there was complete silence, broken only by the sound of sirens from the vehicles. Between the arrivals, the number of people swelled. Among them were soldiers in uniform, some with their families. There were clean-cut and grizzled veterans, some wearing motorcycle jackets, others in regular attire. All snapped to attention and saluted as the hearses passed. Monica Hadwin drove from Angier, bringing her son Jacob, 16, and his friend Richard Ricard, 15, to pay their respects, she said. Both are in the junior ROTC program at Central Harnett High School, as is Johnson's daughter, Eliza. I feel like we're showing a sign of respect to Eliza and her family, Ricard said. Jacob Hadwin agreed. The junior ROTC is a family, he said. I never met him, Sergeant Johnson, but I consider him family. Barbara Colbreth, 83, of Fayetteville was there because anything to do with veterans is my heart. Colbreth, a member of Rolling Thunder and a life member of Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 670 in Fayetteville, is the widow of an 82nd Airborne Division paratrooper, the mother of a Navy veteran who died 6 years ago, and the sister of a soldier who was killed in World War II. You know, Rolling Thunder is an organization that serves and pays homage to U.S. military men and women in uniform and veterans. Most of them are on motorcycles too. It's very impressive. Black's family plans to hold a wake for him today at the funeral home beginning at 6 p.m. A service is planned at Northwood Temple Church where Black and his family worshipped. The service is scheduled for 2 p.m. Wednesday. Black will be buried at Arlington National Cemetery later this month. 2 other 3rd Special Forces Group soldiers also were killed in the attack. They were Staff Sergeant Dustin M. Wright, 29, of Lyons, Georgia, and Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, 25, of Miami Gardens, Florida. Yeah, go ahead. I'm just watching the clock.
Taking in the Indigo Moon.
Oh yes, I didn't go. Did you go to that film festival? I wished I would have. Yeah.
I dabbled in the Indigo Moon Film Festival this weekend. I saw the documentary Chairman Jones, an Improbable Leader, on Saturday night after we got the kids in bed. On Sunday, my wife and I watched the documentary Hondros about late local hero and international photographer.
Is this what's name's column?
So what?
Is that?
This is is the writer?
Yeah.
Myron B. Pitts.
Yeah, Myron Pitts' column. Yeah, he writes one almost every day. It's a good columm.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a good writer.
Both movies played at the Cameo Art House Theater, a place I used to live above and where I proposed to Sarah. I had a really nice film festival moment watching Jones, just one seat back from the director, Anna Jones of Durham. She is the daughter of the film's title character, James Henry Jones. He was a civil rights activist in Northampton County, a large-scale independent farmer with a 10th grade education who eventually became the state's first black chairman of a school board. In an interesting local connection, Jones's first appointee as school superintendent was Willis B. McLeod, a former chancellor of Fayetteville State University. McLeod was interviewed in the film. The spice of any film festival is in-person interviews with the director and Jones, accompanied on stage with festival co-organizer Jan Johnson, fielded several questions. I asked Jones to tell me more about her dad on a day-to-day basis. Jones, a first-time filmmaker, said her father spent a lot of time away from home and said she always viewed him as belonging more to the community. But he helped you find courage, she said, recounting how she playfully climbed aboard a tractor at age 10, and to her surprise, he insisted she learn how to drive it. Jan Johnson and co-organizer Pat Wright of Groundswell Pictures said Monday that the Indigo Moon Film Festival was a success that drew as many as 400 people over the weekend. 46 movies were screened, including shorts and animated works. Johnson said one lesson they learned was to allow for more time between screenings because of the popularity of the filmmaker Q&As. People were so thrilled the filmmakers were there, she said. They wanted to ask lots of questions. Wright and Johnson praised their more than 50 volunteers. This is the festival's second year, but the first where the full schedule played out since last year's was, as Wright put it, hurricaned out by Matthew. They say several filmmakers told them Indigo was the best festival they've entered. Directors and producers came from at least a dozen states, the women estimate. You can easily see the screenings were well received, Johnson says. Watching Hondros reminded me of another great aspect of movie festivals. Total immersion in completely different stories set in completely different places. From Saturday night setting of rural farmland, North Carolina, I was transported Sunday to war-torn Kosovo, Libya, Iraq, and other places shot in stunning detail by war photographer Hondros, who shot for Getty Images. Hondros is a Fayetteville native, a Shutterberg since age 16. The documentary maker is Greg Campbell, also from Fayetteville, and Hondros' best friend. The personal connection informed the movie several times. When I saw aspects of Hondros' personality depicted, I said, that's him. He wasn't just in it for the thrills. He loved people and thought their stories were important to tell, even or especially in times of duress and strife. I can say personally that Chris was genuinely interested in what you had to say, which made him great company. He just seemed to appreciate people. His friend Campbell told me when I interviewed him in May. One telling storyline in the film that shows Hondros' character is how he made personal connections with an American soldier and a disabled Iraqi child on opposite sides of a tragic shooting at a checkpoint in Tal Afar, Iraq. The incident yielded some of his most iconic photos. Hondros will eventually appear on Netflix, but first it will be put into contention for the Oscars. Fortunately, I did pick 2 really good films to see at Indigo. Chairman Jones won the Audience Award, and Hondros took the Best of Fest Award. I still feel, however, like I ate two potato chips out of a full bag. Next year, I plan to do more than just dabble.
2 potato chips, huh?
Potato
hungry. Well, no potato chips.
Wish we had
But see, it's almost time for the station identification, so we'll go ahead and do that, and then we can press on. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a non-profit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SENC RRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, and that's Fayetteville 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or toll free 1-844-709-5656. And your radio hosts today are
Jessica Bullock
and Tina Beatty, and we are proud to serve you today. Let's see what I got next. Oh, something about jobs in the county. Okay, that's good. Some days we just have a lot of dull news. We haven't had anything exciting lately. This one apparently is missing a piece. We'll just make it up as we go along. Cumberland County Commissioners unanimously approved an incentive package Monday night for a $44 million distribution operation that would employ 140 full-time workers at the Cedar Creek Industrial Park. Robert Van Gions, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Fayetteville Cumberland Economic Development Corporation, said the Fayetteville City Council is expected to consider incentives for the project next week. State officials also are considering a package for the company, he said. Van Gions, or Gions, I really don't know how to pronounce it and I do apologize, said he anticipated the company will decide whether or not to locate in Cumberland County soon after the incentive deals are finalized. The decision would come within 30 to 60 days, he said. The company, which has not been identified, is expected to employ 18 managers, 30 clerical workers, and 92 warehouse workers, according to Van Gions. The managers would make an average of about $62,000 per year, he said, while the other workers would make about $28,000 each. The county will give the company grants of not more than 75% of new real property taxes for 7 years. According to a resolution commissioners adopted, that's the work, they adopted the resolution about the property taxes. The county also agreed to sell the company about 98 acres of land in the industrial park for about $1.23 million, which is more than $500,000 less than the fair market value, doing everything we can to get those folks here. The company would be required to purchase the land and create at least 112 jobs by the end of 2019. 7 other jobs would have to be created in each of the next 4 years. County Attorney Rick Moorfield said the business would be the first industrial facility in the park, which also is known as the Cedar Creek Business Center. The county started working on developing the land in 1999, he said. I think it sets the stage for further development there, Moorfield said. Okay, we'll cut it off there because there's a bit missing, so that makes better sense.
Tributes featured at Fall Festival. Dogwood Fall Festival begins Thursday.
That looks like fun, doesn't it? Yeah. There's a picture there of what kids riding on a
tractor, a back of a
on hay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
The musical tributes could get emotional at the Dogwood Fall Festival, scheduled Thursday through Saturday in downtown Fayetteville. Skydog, which specializes in the music of the Allman Brothers, will perform Saturday at 8:30 p.m. 20 Rod and a Zach Brown tribute band, which also performs the music of Tom Petty, performs at 8:30 p.m. on Friday. Greg Allman died in May. Petty died October 2nd. I've made a personal request that they give me at least one Tom Petty song, said Kerry King, executive director, of the Dogwood Festival. The fall counterpart to the Spring Dogwood Festival gets underway Thursday at 7 p.m. Along with music, the event will feature haunted tours, food trucks, a children's area, and hay rides. Thursday's activities include the Dark Dream Haunted House, presented by Devil's Playground, and Historic Hauntings, an hour-long guided tour through Cross Creek Cemetery, and hay rides. Admission to the haunted house and guided tour is $10 each. The hay rides are $5. On Friday, events are scheduled from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Activities include a children's area at Lanier Park that will feature inflatables, train rides, miniature golf, and a rock climbing wall. Admissions to the children's area is $10 for unlimited activities. Also on Friday, the haunted house tours and hay rides will be offered. About 7 food trucks and more than 12 craft beers will be available. 20 Rod is scheduled to perform from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. in Festival Park. A local band, Abner Clark, performs at 6:15 p.m. On Saturday, hours are 3 to 11 p.m. King said more than 40 food vendors are scheduled to be on the site. The haunted maze, tours, hay rides, and children's area will be open. Skydog performs at 8:30 p.m. in Festival Park. Local acts Cool Heat and River Mist perform at 3:30 and 6 p.m. respectively. A foodie contest is scheduled Saturday at 3 p.m. A team of local judges will choose the best dishes from amongst the food truck vendors. All of the musical performances are free, King said. A portion of the haunted house proceeds go to Team Rubicon, which helps veterans. King also said
You're missing a piece too?
I'm missing a page.
Yeah, that's happened with the last one I had too.
Okay, no, here we are, I'm sorry. King also said some of the proceeds from historic hauntings go toward restoring headstones in Cross Creek Cemetery. With the weather cooling, King said interest in the festival seems to be picking up. We've had a lot of social media traffic, she said. Everybody is ready to do something.
Whoa, you found it. Okay. This is, excuse me, you know me, I'm big on editorials. This is the Observer's opinion, their editorial, which they write, and then usually there are op-eds, which means they're on the opposite page, written by other columnists, but this one is Health Insurance Train Wreck on the Way. This is our Observer's editorial. Obamacare won't become no Obamacare overnight, but when President Trump issued an executive order last week to cut off federal subsidies for policies purchased through the Affordable Care Act, he set in motion what could become a healthcare train wreck. Or perhaps he lit a fire under Congress that will lead to the better health insurance program he promised. But we're not optimistic about that last option, but hopeful nonetheless. Even health insurance experts are uncertain what Trump's order will do in the short term, but the long view is certain. Millions of people will have to give up their health insurance policies because they won't be able to afford them without the subsidy that was part of Obamacare. And without insurance, they will become less healthy, seeking help for their illnesses only when they feel they have no choice but to go to a hospital emergency room where they will get expensive care that will be subsidized by taxpayers and by the higher rates that beleaguered hospitals will have to charge. We know how that works because we've seen it. Obamacare has lessened the problem. It's uncertain how many people will be affected by the disappearance of the subsidies, but the estimates are large. Spring Lake Mayor Chris Ray is working as interim executive director of the Cumberland Health Net, a healthcare nonprofit. Who got the subsidies here? Some were the working poor, some were the elderly or single moms, Ray said. They are all on the fringe of coverage. This may push as many as 90% of them off the rolls. This is unconscionable to me that they did all this work and fixed health insurance so people could afford it and gave them subsidies to help them pay for it. Now they're going to pull the rug out from us. I'm not supposed to express my opinion, folks. I'm sorry. Let me keep going. Okay. About 15,000 people in Cumberland County have gotten insurance through the Affordable Care Act. Nearly 10,000 qualified for subsidies. If 90% of them are forced to drop coverage, it will add 9,000 more people to the ranks of uninsured in this county alone. Across the state, the numbers multiply by about the same factor. There are about 523,000 North Carolinians enrolled in Obamacare insurance plans. That's the fourth highest participation in the country, and 93% of those insurance policy holders get some level of subsidy. That means the number of insured people in the program could drop as low as 36,000 when the subsidy disappears. The good news is that it won't happen this year or next. Enrollment for 2018 coverage begins on November 1st, and like the other participating insurers in the country, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, the state's only participating insurance company, is under contract to provide the subsidized rates next year. The company had already budgeted a 14% rate hike because of uncertainty about federal funding. And if policyholders, insurance companies, advocacy groups, or states take the federal government to court over the subsidy cut, changes could be delayed considerably longer. This gives Congress another chance to act. As Ray puts it, the ACA was far from perfect. It was a step in the right direction. He says he is disappointed that members of Congress couldn't work together and figure out how to improve the act. So are we. Whether Congress fixes Obamacare's flaws or introduces a different program that still would cover as many people, we would take an important step in catching up with our peers among the world's industrialized nations. We are the only one that still hasn't figured out how to provide health care to all of our citizens. It's astonishing that we still have elected leaders who object to universal health care, and we note that all of these leaders have excellent taxpayer-provided health care plans of their own. We hope Trump's slip of the tongue. We hope Trump's subsidy cutoff order gives Congress the jolt it needs to create an even more workable national health care program. Their alternative is facing voter wrath next year. And on we go.
Letter to the editor. Bright spot and mist, growing Burberry scandals in NCAA basketball. On August 28th, Kentucky coach John Calipari, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Who is it? Let me see. I don't even know who I know. Oh, Kentucky coach John Calipari? Is that who that is then?
Calipari.
I guess.
Okay.
All these coaches, I don't know.
On August 28th, Kentucky coach John Calipari held an alumni charity game, raising over $1 million for 17 local charities. Just 9 days later, Coach Cal's charity telethon generated over $1 million for Harvey relief. That's Calipari's second $1 million game and third $1 million telethon. Fans love it. I've repeatedly begged UNC and Duke to demonstrate Coach Calipari's compassion. I offered them 600 pieces of their sports memorabilia for 100% charity. On July 24, 2003, Dean Smith wrote me politely declining. Inexplicably, Roy Williams twice sent me blank forms for buying UNC memorabilia. A Mike Kraszewski assistant sent me a hopelessly bogus letter. No one offered to help the needy. Duke and Carolina beat Kentucky in basketball. The can beat Kentucky in compassion. They can raise millions every year for worthy causes. Calipari raised over $1 million 5 times in a row. This ain't rocket science. It's a simple matter of heart. Now is the time for college basketball, starting with Carolina and Duke, to emulate John Calipari's heartwarming activism. The best way to transcend your own troubles is to help someone else. Please join me in urging Coach K at 919-613-7500 and Old Roy at 919-962-1154 to conduct annual $1 million charity events. They won't talk to you, so please leave a message. Deeply troubled NCAA basketball needs more charity events. So do the last of these. Amen.
Excuse me, I just found an old carrot at the bottom of my purse and I decided I'd eat it. I'm hungry. Okay. Here is another editorial. Just a minute. Now I'm going to cough. That's what I get for eating raw carrots. This is an editorial, well it's an op-ed piece actually, and it's by Albert R. Hunt, who's a Bloomberg View columnist. So here is his take on whatever it is he's writing about today. Court Can Heal Divisions is the title. Political polarization in the U.S. is intense and damaging. Boy, isn't that the truth. The Supreme Court could take a small step to mitigate it by limiting partisan gerrymandering. Curtailing patently political drawing of districts for the U.S. House of Representatives and state legislatures would markedly change the partisan composition of either. Under a fair redistricting plan that isn't designed to help one party at the expense of the other, Republicans, who controlled most of the power after the 2010 census, might lose up to 10 House seats. They'd still retain a solid majority. When Democrats control the levers of power, they act the same way. But many district lines are contorted to create safe seats in a general election, usually for incumbents. If the job of drawing them were done by nonpartisan commissions instead of party activists, as now happens in 4 states, dozens more seats might be competitive. Competition makes politicians reach out to uncommitted voters instead of playing to their core base. The The Supreme Court tends to avoid ruling on redistricting fights, but it is now considering a challenge to an egregiously partisan Wisconsin redistricting plan. Skeptics wonder how a workable rule for what's acceptable could be fashioned. The legal scholars Cass Sunstein and Noah Feldman, who are also my Bloomberg View colleagues, have laid out ways this could be achieved without ensnaring the court in every political dispute. The effect of gerrymandering on the U.S. House after the 2010 census is illustrated by looking at Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Politically, these are the big five swing or purple states. They all voted for Barack Obama in 2008, and all but North Carolina did the same thing 4 years later. They all went for Trump last year. In statewide elections where there are no district lines to manipulate, voters in those states have elected 3 Republican governors and 2 Democratic ones. The state's 10 senators divide half and half. Yet of the 87 current House members from these 5 states, 60 are Republicans. There are more than a few rigid ideologues on both sides who have little interest in seeking common ground. That's part of the case against partisan gerrymandering made by 34 present and former House members from both parties who filed an amicus brief urging the High Court to overturn Wisconsin's redistricting plan. Well over 90% of House members are routinely re-elected because most hail from districts dominated by one party. They don't worry about their prospects in the general election. The only threat to their re-election comes if they're challenged in party primaries, so they try to protect their right or left flank. There always will and should be issues that sharply divide the parties: taxes, healthcare entitlements, defense spending, and now race. But there should be room for some accommodation, as there was even when there were deeper social schisms. Think of the eras of the Vietnam War, the civil rights struggles, and the New Deal. Yet polarization seems more damaging today. There are numerous other factors: the campaign finance system, permanent campaigning, the rise of social media, and hyperpartisan media. No Supreme Court redistricting decision can suddenly create the more perfect union envisioned in the preamble to the U.S. Constitution. But if the court ducks the gerrymandering issue, the system and the public cynicism it helps create will only get worse. Okay.
State briefs. Charlotte, a 3-time cancer survivor who ran her first marathon at age 76, has died.
Wow. Bless her heart, huh?
Wow. Harriet Thompson died Monday at age 94.
Whoa!
Ferdinand Thompson said his mother had been in hospice care after she was injured in a fall on October 6 as she delivered gifts at a retirement community. The grandmother of 10 gained attention in 2015 when at age 92 she set a world record finish at the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon with a time of 7 hours, 24 minutes, and 36 seconds. She ran her last race, a 5-kilometer event in Charlotte in August. A celebration of Thompson's life is scheduled for Saturday at 2 p.m. At Myers Park Methodist Church. Man out of jail on bail, struck, killed by car. Washington. The North Carolina Highway Patrol says a man who was out of jail on bail was killed when a car hit him as he walked down a road. WITN in Greenville reports the patrol said 19-year-old Bradford Jones Jr. was walking on North Carolina 33, with his back to traffic near Chaco Winity on Saturday when a car hit him and knocked him off the road. According to the patrol, the man was wearing dark clothing when the accident happened. Hillsborough, a high school football player, is in a medically injured coma after suffering a head injury during the game. The Herald Sun of Durham reports officials say Orange High School 14-year-old football player Thais Oldenburg was hurt when he was tackled during a junior varsity game last Thursday. Although the teen remained unconscious on Monday afternoon, his aunt reported on social media that his CT scan looked good and that there was no swelling or hemorrhaging. Caroline Oldenburg created a GoFundMe page Friday to help pay her nephew's medical bills. The next night, Orange senior running back Marvante Beasley went down in the third quarter of his game and lay motionless. He was taken to the hospital and released on Saturday. Meriden, Connecticut. A woman accused of suffocating her 8-year-old son before using tiki torch oil to set her Connecticut home on fire last year has had her bail set at $1 million in a North Carolina court. Karen Zalowski was arrested Friday in North Carolina, where she's now living. She appeared before a judge Monday but didn't enter a plea. A public defender had no comment. Meriden, Connecticut Fire Marshal Steve Trilla has released a report on the November fire, saying the woman used tiki torch oil as an accelerant. Authorities say the woman and her son Elijah Zalowski were reported from the home, but the boy had died before the home was intentionally set on fire. The boy's death was ruled homicidal. I'm not sure what this is.
Okay.
It's unclear when the woman will be extradited to Connecticut.
Well, okay. Let's see what we got here.
That was sad.
Wait until 11. We've got the obits, but we don't do those till 11. Oh my, that's not very pleasant. Here's a couple of local things, wrecks and abuses and all those delightful things. Let's see here. Man accused in rape of girl 12. Oh dear, oh dear. And this is from Lumberton. A 28-year-old man is accused of having sex with a 12-year-old girl, the Robeson County Sheriff's Office said. Jorge Perez Cruz of St. Paul's was charged Monday with statutory rape by an adult on a minor, taking indecent liberties and communicating threats. The investigation began Sunday when the girl's mother discovered Perez with her daughter at their home on Briston Road in St. Paul's, Captain Brian Duckworth said. The man then produced a handgun and threatened to kill the woman and himself, Duckworth said. Investigators learned that Perez had sex with the girl in the past month, resulting in the rape charge. Bail was set at $100,000.
Driver charged in fatal Hornet wreck. Wellington, a Benson man is accused of drunken driving and leaving the scene Sunday after his car rear-ended a motorcycle, killing the operator and a passenger on US 401 in Harnett County. The North Carolina Highway Patrol said the wreck happened at 4:05 a.m. near Bird Road, about 2 miles north of Bun Level, according to a report filed by Trooper D.E. Edwards. Curtis Devon Harris, 33, driving a 2002 Cadillac, was traveling south on US 401 when he ran into the back of the 2007 Harley-Davidson motorcycle operated by Kevin Michael Roxo, 37, of Linden, the report said. Roxo and his passenger Stephanie Ann Warren, 29, of Dunn, were thrown from the motorcycle. After the impact, the Cadillac ran off the left side of the road and rolled over. Harrison got out of the car and ran away, but was later found and arrested in Bun Level, the report said. Roxo was pronounced dead at the scene. Warren was taken to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center and later transferred to UNC Hospitals in Chapel Hill, where she was listed in serious condition, the North Carolina Highway Patrol said. Harris is charged with 2 counts of hit and run and 1 count of each of felony death by vehicle felony serious injury by vehicle, driving while impaired, driving while license revoked, reckless driving, and failing to reduce speed. Bail was set at $301,000.
Whoa. Okay, and here's public safety, which is a few local arrests. Let's see, Cumberland County arrests. Yeah, we're going to do the obituaries next, okay, after we do station ID, but they have to come in and switch something over, I think. Okay, public safety. Cumberland County arrests. Legee Trammell Holiday, 20, of the 1500 block of Lacey Street, was charged Monday with 4 counts of robbery with a dangerous weapon, 3 counts of first-degree burglary, 2 counts of conspiracy, and 1 count each of second-degree kidnapping and assault with a deadly weapon, with intent to kill, inflicting serious injury. And bail there was set at, get this one now, $450,000. Woo. Sean Michael Chicchi, I think it may be Kitschy, but if it's Italian and it's 1 C and 2 C's, it's Chicchi, 35, of Derby Lane in Parkton, was charged Monday with breaking and entering, larceny, and possessing stolen property. Bail was set at $50,000. Tiffany Marsha Hines, 18, of the 3000 block of Scarlet Place, was charged Monday with obtaining property by false pretense. Bail was set at $5,000. Charles Harvey Hardy, 30, of the 3700 block of Hardywood Drive in Hope Mills, was charged Monday with breaking and entering, larceny, and possessing stolen property. Bail was set at $10,000. Robert Henry Carrington Jr., age 47, of the 2100 block of Coinjock Circle, was charged Monday with 6 counts of a controlled substance with intent to manufacture, sell, or deliver, and 1 count each of possession of firearm by a felon, maintaining a drug dwelling or vehicle, and simple possession of a controlled substance. Bail was set at $50,000. And Christopher Michael Zimmer, 38, of the 6500 block of Amanda Circle, was charged Monday with first-degree burglary, larceny, and misdemeanor breaking and entering. Bail was set at $26,000. And the last item today is a break-in on Grist Mill Road in the 6500 block, reported at 4:01 a.m. Monday. Television and cookware taken. Somebody needed to cook dinner and they didn't have a saucepan. Are we ready? We are ready. Okay. Have you ever read obituaries before?
I've read them, but I don't know if I read them correctly.
Well, my dear girl, I bet you did. We've got, I don't know how many today. We'll split them up, okay? I'll read a few and you can read a few. How's that? They've been pretty well prepared. Somebody took the time to cross out the parts that you don't read, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, but we have to start with the death notices, because we've got people that tune in for that. Okay. That lets them know who has died, overnight. Okay. We call them the overnights. The following deaths have been reported. Oh, no, they haven't, because we have to do station identification. Sorry, folks. We'll get it right.
This is a Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SCNCRRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303.
Yeah, keep going.
If you have any questions or comments, please call at 910-672-1414 1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. The radio hosts are
Tina Beatty
and Jessica Book, and we are proud to serve you today.
We are indeed. Okay, let's try again now. The following deaths have been reported. Upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer will have more complete obituary information. So from Cumberland County, and we always have to read him after we read the obituaries. And then, okay. Betty S. McCall, 80, of Fayetteville, Cunningham and Sons Mortuary. James A. Buck Melton, 86, of Fayetteville, Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. Tammy Phillips Shantz, 49, of Fayetteville, Hope Valley Hawkins. Sandra S. Morris, 75, of Fayetteville, Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services. James McMillan, 57, of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. And Katie Ray, age 69, of Fayetteville, Weissman Mortuary. From the Cape Fear region, Henry Charles Brown, 52, of Chadbourn, S&L Funeral Home in Fairbluff. Chastine Washington, 83, of St. Paul's, McCoy and Sons Mortuary. Judy West Sandrock, 66, of Irwin, Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. And Francis L. Faison, 95, of Clinton, Worley Funeral Home of Clinton. And Ed Purdy, 85, of St. Paul's, McCoy and Sons Mortuary. Now we don't read the funerals. Okay. On to the obituaries. I'll read a few and then we'll pass them over and you can have some. Okay. From Fayetteville, Mrs. Phyllis Roselle Watts, age 88, of Fayetteville, passed away on Saturday, October 14th. The family will receive friends from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wednesday, October 18th at Rogers and Breese Funeral Home, with a funeral service immediately following at 11 a.m. in the chapel, with Reverend Paul Kiefer officiating. Burial will take place at a later date in Woodlawn Cemetery, Winter Gardens, Florida. Services entrusted to Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. From Fayetteville, Mr. Lee Nelson Youngval, 81, of Fayetteville, died Friday, September 29th. The memorial will be Wednesday at noon at Good Shepherd Catholic Church. Viewing will be Good Shepherd Catholic Church Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 11:30, and affordable cremations in charge of arrangements. Fayetteville, Pastor Jesse Lee Batts Jr., 75, passed away Thursday, October 12th at his residence. Funeral service will be held Wednesday, October 18th at 11 a.m. at Cape Fear Conference B headquarters in Rayford. Visitation will be 1 hour prior to the service, and burial will follow at Sandhill State Veterans Cemetery on Fort Bragg. Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory is in charge of services. From Fayetteville, Mrs. Margie Newton McNair, 91, of 615 Cape Fear Avenue, Fayetteville, died Thursday, October 12th. The funeral is on Tuesday at 1 p.m. in Rhine Memorial Church in Red Springs, and viewing is Rhine Memorial Church, with burial at Community Rest, Red Springs, L.E. Floyd Funeral Home in charge of arrangements. Sometimes these get a bit hairy the way they write them. From Mobile, Brian Edward Walker, age 49, born on August 28, 1968, in Yuba City, California, formerly of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and recently moved to Mobile, Mobile, Alabama, departed this life on Saturday, October the 7th. I'm trying to keep myself straight here. His final cremated resting place will be in Arlington, Virginia, at the Arlington Cemetery, at a time to be determined. In lieu of flowers, The family would be appreciative of donations being made in his honor to the American Heart Association, www.heart.org. Notes of condolence may be offered at www.hughesfh.com, and arrangements are by Hughes Funeral Home and Crematory in Daphne, Alabama. And this is from Lillington. Master Sergeant E.A. Lloyd E. George Sr., Army retired, age 81, of Lillington, died Saturday, October 14th. Memorial is going to be Thursday at 5 at O'Quinn Peebles Funeral at O'Quinn Peebles Phillips Chapel. Visitation will be at the funeral home Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. O'Quinn Peebles Phillips Funeral Home and Crematory in Lillington in charge of arrangement. Okay, I'm going to give you the rest of it. We got 2 columns, okay?
Okay. Bun level. Jeremiah J.W. Wayne Johnson, 39, was born December 6, 1977 in New Bern, North Carolina. He passed away October 4, 2017 while serving in Niger, Africa.
Wow.
Jeremiah was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina with the 3rd Special Forces Group as a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist. A wake will be held October 19, 2017 from 1 to 3 p.m. at Jernigan Warren Funeral Home in Fayetteville, North Carolina, followed immediately after by a memorial service and reception at Jernigan Warren Funeral Home from 3 to 5 p.m. In lieu of flowers, the family requests that donations be made in his name to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. Lumberton. Billy Ray Tyndall, 79, passed away Saturday, October 14th, 2017 at Southeastern Regional Medical Center of Lumberton, North Carolina. The funeral service will be held on Wednesday, October 18th, 2017 at 3 p.m. at Floyd Memorial Church with the Reverend David Howes officiating. Interment will follow at Meadowbrook Cemetery in Lumberton. A time of visitation will be held from 7 to 9 p.m. on Tuesday, October 17, 2017. Flowers are welcome. Memorials may be made to Godwin Heights Baptist Church Memorial Fund, 704 Godwin Avenue, Lumberton, North Carolina, 28358. Landrum, South Carolina. David Larry Loins, 69, of Landrum, South Carolina, formerly of Spring Lake, died Sunday, October 15th, 2017. Graveside, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Church of the Covenant Cemetery, Spring Lake. Visitation at Cock Funeral Home, Spring Lake, Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Burial will be at Church of the Covenant Cemetery at Cock Funeral Home and Crematory. Ashland, Massachusetts. Mrs. Roselia Santos Marino, 87, of Ashland, Massachusetts, formerly of Fayetteville, passed away on Monday, October 9, 2017. The graveside service will be held at 2 p.m. on Thursday, October 19, 2017 at Sand Hill State Veterans Cemetery with Reverend Archie Beringer officiating. The family will receive friends from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Wednesday, October 18, 2017 at the funeral home. Services entrusted to Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. Basin, Michael W. Snavely, 69, of Basin, died Monday, October 16, 2017. Memorial will be held Wednesday, 3 p.m. Shumate Falk Funeral Home and Crematory. Goldsboro. Visitation immediately following memorial service. Shumate Falk Funeral Home and Crematory in Goldsboro. Donald Duck Deese, Maxton. Donald Duck Deese, 65, of Maxton, died Saturday, October 14, 2017. Funeral will be held Wednesday, 3 p.m. at Mount Hebron Holiness Church. Visitation will be held at Mount Hebron Holiness Church Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The burial will be at House of Christ Church Cemetery. Richard Bowles Funeral Service. Clinton. Thurman Steve Lane, 80 of Clinton, died Monday, October 16, 2017. The funeral will be held Wednesday at 11 a.m. at Clinton Family Worship Center. Visitation, Crumpler Honeycutt Funeral Home, Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The burial will be at Clinton City Cemetery, Crumpler Honeycutt Funeral Home. Rayford Julia Pinkston Faircloth, 60 of Rayford, died Saturday, October 14, 2017. The memorial will be held Friday at 2 p.m. Rogers and Brees Funeral Home, Chapel. Visitation, Rogers and Brees Funeral Home, Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. Octrville, D.C. Williams Ivy, 80 of Octrville, died Sunday, October 15, 2017. The funeral will be held on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Baptist Chapel Church. Visitation at Baptist Chapel Church, Wednesday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. The burial, Baptist Chapel Church, Cemetery, Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Elizabethtown, Richard Xander Frank, 76 of Elizabethtown, died Saturday, October 14, 2017. The funeral will be held on Thursday at noon at Full Gospel Christian Church at Elizabethtown. The visitation, Hills Chapel, Fairmont, Wednesday at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The burial at Bellevue Cemetery, Chaborn. Broadway, Jonathan Tracy Sullivan, 47 of Broadway, died Saturday, October 14, 2017. The memorial will be held Wednesday, 4 p.m. at Smith Funeral Home, Chapel, Broadway. Visitation, Smith Funeral Home, Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Smith Funeral Home, Broadway.
And that is it?
That's it.
Okay, let's see what Billy Graham's got to say today. Where did he go? Yeah, okay, you can be Dear Abby today. I'll be Billy Graham. Our question for Billy Graham today is, our neighbors are some of the kindest and most moral people we know, and yet they don't have any use for God. Unfortunately, another neighbor claims to be a Christian, but is one of the grumpiest people I've ever met. How do you explain this? And it's signed Mrs. E.H. Here's the answer. Admittedly, some people who don't even believe in God put those of us who claim to follow Christ to shame. We should be grateful for their good lives. Our world would be worse without them. Even if they don't realize it, the Bible says they show that the requirements of the law of God are written on their hearts. And that's from Romans chapter 2, verse 15. Whenever I've met someone like this, whether it was a compassionate unbeliever or a grumpy Christian, I've been challenged to look at my own life and ask if I'm truly seeking to live in a way that honors God. After all, if a person without Christ lives a good life, and many do, shouldn't those of us who believe in Him live even better lives? Of course. The Bible calls us, and this is a quote, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And that's from Ephesians chapter 4, verses 23 and 24. Don't let the failures of a few keep you from Christ. Instead, face honestly your need for His forgiveness and new life, and open your heart and life to Him. Our world desperately needs those who will take Christ seriously and become His instruments of love and peace. Pray too for your neighbors. God loves them, and their greatest need is to humble themselves before Him and discover the hope and joy He wants to give them. The psalmist declared, "How priceless is your unfailing love, O God. With you is the fountain of life." That's from Psalm 36, verses 7 and 9. What a lovely quote. Okay, my dear, what's some naughty people been up to?
Afternoon delight ends when wife stops to take a call. Dear Abby, my wife and I have been married for many years, work long schedules, and actually sleep when we go to bed at night. Saturday afternoon we had nothing to do, so I suggested some hanky-panky. We were just getting into it when the phone rang. I told her to let it go to voicemail, but when our married daughter's name was caller ID announced, she said she had to take the call because they had been playing phone tag all day. There was no important matter, so just idle chit-chat. What a mood killer. Am I wrong to be angry that my needs were ignored so my wife could say, "Hello, how are you?" to our daughter, who calls 8 times a day anyway? Thwarted in Michigan. Dear Thwarted, wrong? I don't think so. I think it's time to calmly ask your wife why she prioritized taking that call over the opportunity to be intimate with you. P.S. The next time you're in HP mode, put both of your phones on Do Not Disturb. Dear Abby, I was diagnosed with lung cancer last year. After months of chemo, I had surgery and my lung was removed. 15 months after my diagnosis, my husband is still smoking cigarettes. I feel so hurt and alone going through this. I thought he would have stopped smoking for his own health as well as moral support to me. He says I don't have the right to change him and quitting is too hard, even though he refuses to get help to stop. Am I being overly sensitive to think he should stop smoking? I don't think he is being fair to our children because of the potential of them having to watch another parent receive the same diagnosis. Needs moral support. Dear Needs, you are not overly sensitive. People have been known to get cancer from secondhand smoke. Face it, you are married to an addict. Not only is he being unfair to the children, he is being unfair to you and himself because he's unwilling to even try to quit. My advice is to insist that he do it outside and away from you. Dear Abby, a few days ago my daughter had a sleepover at a friend's house and the girl's dad broke my daughter's eyeglasses by accidentally stepping on them. He said he would pay for them. In the meantime, I glued them together. Fast forward to 2 days later and our dog finished the job and broke the side that was still okay. Is the dad still responsible for pain, or is he not, since my dog used the glasses as a chew toy? Blind as bats in Florida. Dear Blind as Bats, the man who stepped on your daughter's glasses should pay to replace them as promised, and in the future, when those glasses are not on your daughter's nose, they should be safely stored in their case and in a secure location.
Okay, horoscope. Now we have 2 birthday people today. So, Arthur Fryer and Maria Washington, happy birthday again to you, and this is your personal horoscope. Born today, you are one of everybody's favorites, the kind who can brighten a room simply by entering it, or solve a problem just by applying your considerable brain power to it for a matter of moments. Your life's journey will be one of learning how to give yourself a break and to not expect yourself to be more or less than you are. And the rest of you Libras, you'll receive word of something that impacts you only indirectly right now, but later you'll feel it more acutely. Scorpio, that which is original to you must not be shared with others. The time will come, but for now you should keep it to yourself. Sagittarius, you can organize the efforts of a large group so that everyone is much more effective at helping get an assigned task completed. Capricorn, you may be asked to join forces with someone whose creative energies are unlike achievement of a goal you have long had in common. Aquarius, you can shed light on a key issue today and keep others from falling into a panic as a result of misinformation or misinterpretation. Pisces, no matter how you dress it up, a certain something is still going to be unappealing today. Face it, it may be time to throw it away. Aries, you may have to do something the hard way today. Let's try that again. You may have to do something the hard way today simply because you did not anticipate the need soon enough. Taurus, you may not be able to trust what you hear today, but further investigation on your part will quickly clear up any inconsistencies inconsistencies. I can't even talk today, folks. Gemini, and this is mine. How you put two and two together will impact not only you and your family, but also many others indirectly. Sorry, no. Leo, your sense of humor will get you noticed today, but it is for the right reason? That may not matter, so long as you're noticed. And finally, all you Virgos, take care that your confidence doesn't become overconfidence, and you don't wield your authority in any way that is inappropriate. Okay, what's your birthday?
I'm an Aquarius.
You're an Aquarius,
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I'm a Gemini.
Okay.
Yes. Weird people have two personalities.
Some support groups. Tuesday, adult children of alcoholics / codependency, 1 to 2 p.m. Friends in Recovery Group, Snyder Memorial Baptist Church, Room B 1035, 701 Westmont Drive, 988-6858. Al 9 Serenity Seekers Group, noon, Snyder Memorial Baptist Church, Room B 1035, 701 Westmount Drive, 850-1444. Take off pounds sensibly. Might need to go to this. 5:30 p.m. West End Baptist Church, Fellowship Hall, 805 West Drive, Lumberton. 5:30 p.m. Coates United Methodist Church, 288 East South Street, 6 p.m. Raleigh Road. Presbyterian Church, 208 South Raleigh Road, 6 p.m. College Lakes Recreation Center, 4945 Rose Hill Road, 6:30 p.m. Dominion Church, 1874 Cedar Creek Road, 800-932-8677, or go to tops.org. Prostate Cancer, 7 p.m. OB League Community Education Center, Gibson Cancer Center, 1200 Pond Run Drive, Lumberton, 671-5730. Alcoholics Anonymous, 7 a.m. noon, 5:30, 8 p.m., 11 p.m., 626 Sandalwood Drive, noon, 5:30, 7 p.m., 604 German Street, noon, 1601 Rayford Road, and at noon, 2357 Quartermasters Fort Bragg, noon, 6:30 p.m., 401 East 1st Street, Lumberton, 5:30 p.m., Marvin United Methodist Church, 6740 Highway 87 South, 6:30 p.m., Detour Cafe, 6781 Camden Road, at 7:30 p.m., 2704 East Broad Street, Elizabethtown, 7 and 8 p.m., 326 Martin Luther King Drive, Maxon, 8 p.m., Trinity United Methodist Church, 6974 Rayford Road, and at 8 p.m., First Baptist Church, 301 North Main Street, Fairmont, 8 p.m., 122 West 3rd Street, Red Springs, 8 p.m., 705B Wesley Pines Drive in Lumberton, 8 p.m., Bladen County Hospital. Hotlines are 678-8733 or 678-8002, and that was for Alcoholics Anonymous. Al 9, 6:30 p.m., 401 East 1st Street, Lumberton, 7 p.m., 320 Hay Street. You can contact them at 678-8002. Narcotics Anonymous. To find weekly meetings and locations, call 866-418-9500 or go to crna.org. Diabetes Management Clinic support groups, 8 a.m. to noon. Better Health of Cumberland County, 1422 Bragg Boulevard. Contact them at 483-7534. Fayetteville Psoriatic Arthritis, 7 p.m. Hilton Garden Inn Lobby, 4025 Sycamore Dairy Road. Contact them at 864-1138 or by email fayetteville@support.psoriasis.org. Grandparents and relatives raising children of Harnett County, 10 a.m. Division of Aging, Cornelius Harnett Boulevard, Conference Room 119 in Wellington, 893-7578. Fayette, 7 p.m. Peace Presbyterian Church, 3200 3203 Ramsey Street for civilian and military amputees. 670-9837 is their contact number. Alzheimer's Caregiver Support Group, 2 p.m., Heritage Place, 240 Ann Street, Sam at 615-1633. Alzheimer's Group Support Group, 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Massey Hill Recreation Center. This group is an in-person group that is intended for anyone with ALS support group, their family members and friends, and any other interested party. There's always a topic for the meeting, and quarterly there's a speaker. The focus of the group is educational. The facilitator is Joanne Nunez, and she can be contacted at 877-257-7401, extension 712. And lastly, you have the Cumberland County National Alliance on Mental Illness. This is from 7 to 8:30 p.m. in Cumberland County Mental Health Center, Conference Room 109 on Bradford Avenue. Contact them at 709-6685.
Okie dokie. Well, I guess we can do station identification. It's coming up on 11:30, so we'll do that now.
This here?
You got it? Go ahead, yeah. By all means. By the way, you did a really good job on those, what we just did, the
support groups?
Support groups.
Thank you so
That's
much.
a devil to read, and I always kind of scoot around it, so you did a good job.
Thank you so much. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number at 1-844-709-5656. And your radio hosts are Jessica Bullock
And Tina Beatty.
and we are proud to serve you today.
Okay. Now it's a matter of finding something that won't put you to sleep, and we have a lot of world news, and we haven't had as much news, local news lately as we used to have, and I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I know that my husband and I have noticed what a change there has been in the newspaper since those other people took over. They sold them to somebody or some such thing. But newspapers too are getting smaller because people read online.
Yes.
Now I won't ever do that, although I go online and mostly I shop. But I prefer to have something in my hand when I'm reading.
Yes.
I want a newspaper in the morning, and I always have a book. So the newspapers, though, are taking a hit, and you can see it when you look at them. Okay, so this is about a Chinese artist. If you can't help falling asleep, that's all right. I forgive you. The Chinese contemporary visual artist Ai Weiwei, whose portraits of political dissidents formed from Lego blocks are currently on view at the Hirshhorn Museum and Sculpture Garden in Washington, D.C., has never limited himself to a single medium. Over his career, the 60-year-old has produced powerful sculptures, installations, photographs, videos, even a stream of social media postings that can be read as both a form of performance art and as a political statement. Ai's heartbreaking new documentary, Human Flow, on the subject of the global refugee crisis, continues a tradition of making work that is pungent conceptually and aesthetically. Shot in 23 countries and culled from 900 hours of footage of refugees from the Middle East, Africa, Mexico, and other places, the film largely avoids the tropes of standard documentaries, using on-screen facts and figures only sparingly or in the margins, and narration not at all. News crawls featuring headlines from PBS, the New York Times, and other journalism outlets regularly creep across the screen, adding minimal context and contrasting sharply with fragments of poetry. If at times it is not immediately clear which of the 40 refugee encampments I visited we are looking at, is it Greece, Kenya, Italy, the West Bank, or who's on screen, that's part of his point. In place of talking head interviews that might lend clarity, I's signature shot seems to be the overhead drone sequence, offering breathtaking bird's eye views of, say, a refugee-packed boat on the open sea, or an expanse of cubicle-like shelters inside a massive airplane hangar. Aestheticizing the tragic does not undercut it, but reinforces it. In other scenes, I simply turns his unblinking camera on an individual who may or may not speak, forcing the audience to confront over an uncomfortably long time the common humanity we share with those who are all too often rendered as statistics. At nearly 2.5 hours, the film is long, and it sags here and there, but the cumulative effect is not exhaustion or boredom, but rather sorrow and outrage at the violence, economic despair, and persecution, whether religious, ethnic, or political, that have driven these people from their homes. At a couple of points, I turns his gaze from the flow of humanity to focus on an animal. One wordless sequence features a cow limping unsteadily down an unidentified street. Another segment details the Herculean effort and expense undertaken in 2016 to relocate a single tiger from a zoo in Gaza to the South African wild. At these times, by deliberately playing on our sympathy for non-human suffering, Human Flow asks us implicitly why we seem to care so much about certain living creatures and not others. That turned out to be a pretty good article, didn't it? Mm-hmm. There's a picture at the bottom of Refugees Walk near Idomeni camp in Greece, from the documentary Human Flow. I mean, you can see all those people walking to the next place. They no longer have a home. They don't know where they're going to go, where they're going to find any food. I mean, how would you like to worry about where you were going to sleep every night? Well, that applies to homeless people too, doesn't it?
Okay. Johnny Mathis Pop Collection turns American Songbook concept on its head. The first time Johnny Mathis and Clive Davis worked together closely, things didn't go quite as planned. The year was 1973, and Davis, then the head of Mathis's label, Columbia Records, had paired the old-fashioned romantic crooner with producer Tom Bell for I'm Coming Home, an album that set Mathis's distinctive high-pitched voice against the lush R&B sound known as Philadelphia Soul. I thought it was one of the best things I've done, said, and Tommy loved it, Mathis said recently. But then Clive got fired before we could publicize the album, so it just kind of languished. The singer laughed gently, recalling Davis's untimely dismissal from Columbia after an expense account scandal of which he was later cleared. Nobody ever really heard it, Mathis said of the album. 44 years later, the two have reunited for a second collaboration they hope gets a more meaningful look. Johnny Mathis sings the great New American Songbook, which came out last month, follows a series of similarly titled efforts that Davis, now an executive with Sony Music, has overseen for Barry Manilow, Rod Stewart, and Aretha Franklin. But this time, Davis tweaked his established formula. Rather than summon the nostalgia of a graying audience, an approach that led to multi-platinum sales in the case of Stewart's Great American Songbook disc, Mathis' album presents the 82-year-old singer as a still vital interpreter of modern pop with clever renditions of recent radio staples in place of deeply familiar standards like Beyond the Sea and It Had to Be You. In the Great New American Songbook, St. Davis, 85, emphasizing the crucial words in his raspy New York accent. Among the songs, Mathis tackles Adele's Grammy Award-winning Hello, Bruno Mars's chart-topping Just the Way You Are, Keith Urban's country hit Blue Ain't Your Color, and perhaps most surprisingly happy, the up-tempo, secure gospel jam by Pharrell Williams. In their original incarnations, each tune is a big vocal record designed to attract attention, but Mathis's album takes a different tack. Working in the studio with veteran R&B singer and producer Kenny Edmonds, known as Babyface, Mathis remade the songs to suit his delicate aesthetic, which is in an era of post-American Idol, over-singing means they actually stand out. How would Johnny do it? Edmonds said he repeatedly asked himself while devising his airy arrangements. Every song came down to that. Mathis's first studio album, since a Christmas collection, one of his many, in 2013, Great New American Songbook came about as a result of his performance 2 years ago at Davis's annual pre-Grammy Gala.
Okay. Well, here, this one's a bit disturbing, depending on your political leanings. I find it disturbing anyway. Okay. For U.S. presidents, meeting the families of military personnel killed in war is about as wrenching as the presidency gets. President Donald Trump's suggestion Monday that his predecessors fell short in that duty brought a visceral reaction from those who witnessed those grieving encounters. He's a deranged animal, Alyssa Mastromonaco, a former deputy chief of staff to President Barack Obama, tweeted about Trump. With an expletive, she called Trump's statement in the Rose Garden a lie. Trump said in a news conference he had written letters to the families of 4 soldiers killed in an October 4th ambush in Niger and planned to call them, crediting himself with taking extra steps in honoring the dead properly. Most of them didn't make calls, he said, of his predecessors. He said it's possible that Obama did sometimes, but other presidents did not call. The record is plain that presidents reached out to families of the dead and to the wounded, often with their presence as well as by letter and phone. The path to Walter Reed and other military hospitals, as well as to the Dover, Delaware Air Force Base, where the remains of fallen soldiers are often brought, is a familiar one to Obama, George W. Bush, and others. Bush, even at the height of 2 wars, wrote all the families of the fallen, said Freddie Ford, spokesman for the ex-president. Ford said Bush also called or met hundreds, if not thousands, of family members of the war dead. Obama's official photographer, Pete Souza, tweeted that he photographed Obama meeting with hundreds of wounded soldiers and family members of those killed in action. Others recalled his frequent visits with Gold Star families and travels to Walter Reed, Dover, and other venues with families of the dead and with the wounded. Trump addressed the matter when asked why he had mentioned the 4 Special Forces soldiers killed in Niger. They died when militants thought to be affiliated with the Islamic State group ambushed them while they were patrolling in unarmed trucks with Niger troops. If you look at President Obama and other presidents, most of them didn't make calls, Trump said. Pressed on that statement later, he said of Obama, I was told that he didn't often, and a lot of presidents don't. They write letters. He went on, President Obama, I think, probably did sometimes, and maybe sometimes he didn't. I don't know. That's what I was told. Some presidents didn't do anything. Among other rituals honoring military families, the Obamas had a Gold Star Christmas tree in the White House, decorated with hundreds of photos and notes from people who had lost loved ones in war. Gold Star families visited during the holidays, bringing ornaments. That's just really a very poignant story. This man never ceases to amaze me. No political comments, Tina.
Democrats accuse EPA's Pruitt of misusing taxpayer funds. Washington. Top-ranking congressional Democrats are calling on a federal watchdog to review whether Environmental Protection Agency Chief Scott Pruitt broke the law by making a video for a private group opposing an Obama-era clean water rule. Pruitt flew to Colorado for an August event organized by the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, an industry trade association representing cattle producers. While at the ranch, Pruitt recorded a video urging the group's members to file comments supporting the repeal of EPA's Waters of the United States rule. The 2015 rule seeks to expand the agency's jurisdiction under the Clean Water Act to include smaller streams and wetlands. In a letter sent last week, the top Democrats on 4 committees with oversight of EPA asked the head of the Government Accountability Office to issue a formal legal ruling on whether Pruitt's participation in the video violated federal rules. They cited long-standing prohibitions against federal officials using taxpayer funds for publicity, for propaganda purposes, and for the preparation, distribution, or use of any kit, pamphlet, booklet, publication, radio, television, or film presentation designed to support or defeat legislation pending before the Congress. EPA did not respond to messages seeking comment about the letter or provide the total cost taxpayers for its trip. The Associated Press and other media outlets have previously reported about Pruitt's frequent westward travel, which often occurs on Thursdays and Fridays, to allow the EPA chief to spend weekends at his home in Oklahoma. Records show Pruitt typically travels with at least 2 aides and members of his full-time security detail.
Thank you. Let's see. Somehow or another, in the shuffle, we managed to overlook this one, which is actually a local one. Can you believe it? It was buried down there. Okay, it's actually about city council hopefuls and all those lovely, charming, wake-you-up stories. Okay. There's a picture on the article of mayoral candidates Mitch Colvin on the left and Nat Robertson on the right debate at FTCC's Tony Rand Student Center on Monday. Mayor Nat Robertson and his challenger, Mayor Pro Tem Mitch Colvin, stood up from their seats Monday night, shook hands, and embraced at the conclusion of the first of a 2-day Fayetteville Candidates Forum. Over the previous hour or so, those candidates had made clear their stands, debating on a variety of questions and issues, sometimes in agreement, often in disagreement. In what was supposed to be concise, 1-minute answers for rebuttals, the men were given 30 seconds. The forum was staged before a crowd of about 200 at the Tony Rand Student Center on the campus of Fayetteville Technical Community College. Besides the 2 candidates for mayor, audience members heard from the primary winners seeking election to Fayetteville City Council Districts 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those candidates include District 2, Dan Culleton and Tyrone Williams. District 3, Tisha Waddell and Jeremy Wright. District 4, incumbent Chalmers McDougall and DJ Hare. And District 5, Johnny Dawkins and Henry Tyson. Colvin and Robertson agreed on the city's Unified Development Ordinance, which has been revised several times since it was adopted. While they said the city must stand strong on the aesthetics, the candidates agreed that the ordinance that lists the city's regulations for development, zoning, and building could use further tweaking. They expressed similar feelings on the city's riverfront property, and that Fayetteville should be taking better advantage of the Cape Fear River that clips through the edge of the city. Despite its critics, those who questioned spending $33 million on a new downtown baseball stadium, Robertson and Colvin shared similar sentiments on the potential economic development and business growth the facility could create in that sector of the city. If you look, there has never been a downtown baseball stadium that wasn't successful, Robertson said. But these political rivals disagreed sharply on the city's approach to the annexation of Shaw and Julie Heights. In his question to the candidates, moderator Breeden Blackwell cited the city's neglect of those communities as an example of institutional racism. These neighborhoods, Blackwell said, are majority non-white, infrastructure deficient, absentee owner dominant, and communities shunned by city governments for decades. I'd like you to address the Shaw and Julie Heights neglect for the last several decades, Blackwell said. By voting against the annexation of Shaw Heights, Robertson said, he believed he was doing those residents a service. Because they are not having to pay the additional taxes and not having to pay the additional $10,000 tap from PwC that they couldn't afford, he said. I don't know where I am here. Let's see. Because they are not having to pay additional taxes. Okay, we got that, didn't we? Oh, no, we didn't. Because they are not having to pay the additional taxes and not having to pay the additional $10,000 tap from PwC that they couldn't afford, he said, referencing the Fayetteville Public Works Commission and city-owned utility, and what they would end up doing is moving out and losing their homes and going elsewhere. Colvin called it shameful to grow around a community group of people because it's not financially feasible to bring them into the city. I have to drink water here and I shall continue on. I mean, good livable conditions doesn't hurt anyone, he said. I think as you improve the conditions that people live in, mindsets change and they actually do better. I actually voted for Shaw Heights in addition to adding the other 16 donut holes that our city has similar circumstances where our city is on the move but a whole population has been left behind, and that's not right. On the subject of the proposed Civil War History Center for Fayetteville, Colvin said he could not support the city's investment in today's environment. Colvin said he liked the fact that the project talks historically about what happened, but said that the concept and model may need tweaking in light of current affairs around the country. Robertson said he didn't know if he had the answer to the question when he too was asked if city, county could support the project. I know one way you look at it. Maybe now we need that learning center more than ever, he said, but I also understand it is divisive. I don't know how other council members feel about that. In their final statements, incumbent McDougald appeared to take some shots at Hare, a former councilman and his challenger for the District 4 seat. McDougald said he stood in contrast to Hare, whom he had noted had voted in the past for annexation and voted against the city's Parks and Rec bond. He said Hare, and this is a quote, is not really concerned about the livability of a neighborhood. I'm concerned about the livability of this city. If you want what you had, I'm not your man. But if you want to continue the progress we've made over the last 4 years, I'm your person. Hare countered, but did not remind McDougald He did. I was thinking about the commissary. Hare counted but did not remind McDougal that he did not vote for the Big Bang annexation in 2005 of West Fayetteville. For 16 plus years I have served you, he said. When I took a break, I didn't really take a break. I continued to serve you. For 16 years you said, Mr. Hare, I trust you. If you didn't trust me, I would not have served those many years, despite what is being said this evening. The forum continues Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Colvin and Robertson will again participate, and candidates for districts 1, 6, 7, and 8 will take part in the proceedings. The candidates for City Council will be District 1, incumbent Kathy Keith Jensen and Curtis L. Brown Sr. District 6, incumbent Bill Crisp and Tony Stewart. District 7, incumbent Larry Wright and Trevon McNeil. District 8, incumbent Ted Moan and John Minor. The Fayetteville Candidates Forum is hosted by the Observer, the Greater Fayetteville Chamber, and the Longleaf Pine Realtors, formerly known as the Fayetteville Regional Association of Realtors. If you can't make it, the forums are being broadcast live on the Fayetteville Observer's Facebook page at facebook.com/FayObserver / and then a dot for at the end. Facebook followers and members of the audience at FTCC will be able to ask questions of the candidates. So if something really concerns you, you can go down there and ask them. This is going to go on for a while now, and I guess we do need to know what our representatives want to do, don't we? Or how can we complain? Let's see. I got a little something here, and then we'll be doing the television schedule. Trump campaign faces subpoena in assault lawsuit. President Donald Trump's presidential campaign has been subpoenaed for records related to past sexual assault allegations against Trump. They charged the president on Monday, dismissed as made-up stuff. Lawyers for Summer Zervos, a former contestant on The Apprentice, asked the campaign in March to preserve any records in its possession concerning Zervos or other women who accused Trump of misconduct. Zervos says Trump kissed and groped her against her will in 2007. During a Rose Garden press conference, Trump dismissed the allegations as politically motivated. All I can say is it's totally fake news, just fake. It's made up stuff, and it's disgraceful what happens. That happens in the world of politics, he said. Zervos' request was filed as part of a defamation lawsuit. Lawyers for Trump for president agreed in April to hold on to any related records. Those sorts of subpoenas are routine in civil litigation. It isn't clear yet whether the case will advance far enough that the Trump campaign will be required to actually turn over these records. But Trump's lawyers have asked that the case be dismissed or delayed until he is no longer president. So maybe that's what will happen. Who knows? There's something about this man every day. And the things he does and says. Let's see what time it is. Okay. Television time. ABC, 8 o'clock the middle. That's new. Fresh off the boat. Doesn't say. 9 o'clock Blackish, new. The Mayor at 9:30, new. 10 o'clock Kevin Probably Saves the World. That's new. And CBS, NCIS at 8. Bull at 9, that's new. And NCIS New Orleans, that's new, and that's on at 10. Fox, Lethal Weapon, that's on at 8 o'clock. The Mick is on at 9, which is new. And Brooklyn 9-9 is new. And 10 o'clock, WRAL's 10 o'clock news. Let us see. NBC, 8 o'clock, The Voice. That's a new one. 9 o'clock, This Is Us. That's new. And 10 o'clock, Law and Order True Crime, The Menendez Murders. That's new. On PBS, 8 o'clock, Finding Your Roots, new. Doesn't say who it is, but the Vietnam War at 9, Resolve, Defying American Air Power. I don't know if any of you listened to or watched the programs about the Vietnam War. My husband and I recorded all of them, and they were very, very in-depth and very disturbing in places, but they were certainly worth watching. Apparently they're running them again. A&E, at 8 o'clock, Leah Remini. At 9 o'clock, Leah Remini. And at 10 o'clock, Leah Remini. No comment. AMC, 8 o'clock, The Walking Dead. And 9 o'clock, The Walking Dead. And 10 o'clock, The Walking Dead. Well, I thought they were a movie channel. Well, apparently not today. Black Entertainment Channel, 9 o'clock, Children's Tales. Well, let me tell you what's on Turner Classic Movies really quickly here. The Devil's Bride, a 1968 horror movie with Christopher Lee, and then The Curse of Frankenstein, also with Christopher Lee, and then The Mummy with Peter Cushing. Those are across the evening. So, and this concludes our reading of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts have been my friend, who isn't right here right now, and me, Tina Beatty. Please tune in at 1 p.m. when you can hear an hour of the Paraglide. At 2 p.m. for a tape broadcast of the Southern Pines pilot. At 4 p.m. you can hear Off the Bookshelf. Additionally, you will hear a rebroadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. We thank you for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with you this morning, and we hope you have a wonderful day. It sure is a pretty day. So see you next week on the radio. Bye-bye.
Hey, Tina.
Did you see this?